tongue is numb, the current's clean. Your dog is dead, it's a Ponzi screen. Ponzi screen, because it's just something to do.
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
Doghouse Dave.
Here I go on my own, going down the only road I ever known. Right?
I think that's the song that I was going for.
Right-
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, I was thinking
Right?
like
What-
more,
is
like a
that-
home
is that it?
improvement. Yeah, like home improvement, but podcast devolvement. Yeah,
Dun dun dun.
here we are. Welcome to the Ponzi Scream. Today's first story involves everyone's favorite McKinsey consulting firm, and they just settled a big old lawsuit. And we talk about this type of lawsuit a lot in our.
Hold on, David, how are you doing?
Oh yeah.
Come on, David. What is this?
I don't really.
What is this? How are you doing?
I don't want to talk about.
Gabe.
Enough about me.
Gabe.
Enough about me.
Yeah.
I'm good. I think when this story comes up, I will have my piece in Rolling Stone that will be live.
Oh, we can talk about that?
Yeah, so if we want to, so that should be as long as things go as they were told, it should be coming up this week. So while we're recording, so the story in Rolling Stone, check it out. It's about the Department of Labor and all of the nasty little things that Eugene Scalia is doing with it to just plunder and loot our retirement system. And it's all been in the past like 2 months. We've talked about some of it on the pod a little bit. One is just kind of been the increased exposure, quote unquote, like an influencer that your 401k can have to private equity investing, which is wrought with high fees and low performance or average performance. And then another one is rule change that they're doing is basically making the fiduciary responsibilities of a retirement professional much lower than what they currently are. So then there's all these loopholes, and they can accept third-party payments for certain recommendations. It's like if you're like a doctor, you're getting a little bit of a kickback from a pharmaceutical company to recommend a certain heartburn medication or something like that. They do that, but with your retirement. And then the third rule is to allow for, to not allow for people to invest in what is called ESG investing in their retirement portfolio. Essentially, it prevents it from someone being able to do that, which has been proven to not only lower risk in bad times, but also have better performance in good times. So, just some cool, dope shit, man. Just some
something light, a little, just a nice bowl of cereal. When did you just pitch them this, and then they were like, "We are not sure what you're talking about, but you speak with it with an authority," and they were like, "Sure."
More or less. I have a problem where I think it's like a white male syndrome where I'll just kind of say something and people will take it with more confidence than I have in it. And I'll usually have to be like, well, I don't know what I'm talking about. And I have to like say that a lot because I think sometimes society makes.
Nah, I'm dumb. I'm dumb.
I'm dumb. Don't actually. Yeah, don't actually listen to me. Someone told me at a bar that Moldova was the capital of Russia. That I don't know that. And no, but this time I didn't do that. I just was like, hey, I know about this thing. And the guy didn't get back to me for like 3 weeks, and then we started writing it. So it should be coming out this week. Knock on wood. And that's kind of my big news. And also in the interview, I interview Bruce Springsteen.
Nice.
Yeah, you go
you
go to E Street.
Okay, very cool, very cool.
Yeah, so Bruce comes in and he talks about his newest album, Darkness on Virus Street, and that's the whole that's most of it. So what's up with you guys?
I'm just, doing my thing. I'm still under the boot of the apps and what have you, but actually, no, I'm not gonna say their name yet, but I will say that the app that I worked for, they got merged. They got merged into another app, which is interesting. So, again, not going to say who exactly that app is quite yet, because I don't know what the rules are on it. But maybe someday I could talk more in depth about that.
Is it TikTok?
I'm delivering milkshakes through TikTok. That would be very appropriate, actually. No, it was not TikTok in this case. But God willing, one day.
God willing, one day. So Gabe, what's up with you, man? Tell us about yourself.
I still doing a weekly Zoom stand-up comedy show, Funhouse Comedy, 9:30 every Wednesday night. So it's a great way to stay socially distanced, and I'm really trying to push live comedy into our new Black Mirror reality and have it work. So, everybody needs chuckles in the dystopia. I also did my first 2 live shows this week, socially distanced. One at the Tiny Cupboard in East New York, which
Ooh.
I feel is now the new Comedy Cellar, in that there's shows every night of the week on that rooftop.
Wow, are you
And,
serious?
yeah, off the Chauncey J train, the Tiny Cupboard.
Chauncey.
Yeah, Chauncey.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's coming back, and my first show there, I immediately all of the bad habits that are at every live comedy show existed there on that rooftop. In that the comics would stand, some, not all, would stand in the back and talk loudly.
Oh yeah.
No.
Oh yeah, baby.
No.
Still happening.
Oh yeah. Comedy's
if you
back, baby.
if you are nostalgic for having some Punisher small talk your ear off while you're trying to work over your set, don't worry, that'll never go away.
Still there.
Still there.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I thought it'd be weird to perform for people spread out wearing masks. But it was just like getting on a bike again.
Yeah, fun little side note. Gabe and Samir, who's the other co-host of Funhouse, seem to attract, no joke, some of the most intense fucking punishers. And a punisher is like a guy, it's usually a guy, just like who's like on the around a show who is just like, I guess, abusive, but verbally abusive. You know what I mean?
Well, I think there's a spectrum, and a lot of them
Yeah,
are
yeah.
on the spectrum, but it would definitely be people that, in Seinfeld, the close talker.
That's a version of a punisher,
that's
for
a
sure.
version. Then there is the hard eye contact. Won't stop making very intense hard eye contact with you, and it's unnerving because they don't blink.
They don't.
This is while they're performing with the
No,
audience.
these are usually after the show, just lost souls that come to a
Yeah.
show and they
Nomads.
This is
Yeah.
it's one of these things where everyone's so lonely in comedy. All of these performers are so alienated. It's just some of the most psychologically isolated people in New York City do stand-up comedy. This is the first time that they've had face-to-face contact with anyone in 6 months after the coronavirus happened. So all of those neuroses are just going to be amplified even more. So in some ways, #we are all Punisher.
we're all punishers to an extent. Yeah, I have to say I admire your ability to get back into comedy that quickly. It still feels weird for me. I still feel like there's this gap, what's it called, when like a robot doesn't look enough like a human.
Uncanny Valley.
Yeah, there's still like an uncanny valley between performing and what have you. For me, like I feel like if I went to a comedy show and I heard somebody be like, "Man, dating's weird," I'd just be like, "Boo! Stop!
Yeah.
We're not here socially distanced to hear bad premises."
Well, I think I read some article about like how the wealthy are getting the rapid tests so that they can go to parties in the Hamptons. And, you can get a
Yes.
coronavirus result like right away, basically, if you have
Yes.
the money. And I think the dating is weird premise for 2020 is more like will Elon Musk stop working on Teslas and ships to space and instead make a viable Iron Man like dating bodysuit? I need a
Yeah.
bodysuit with a infrared thermometer on a shoulder cannon like the Predator would have, and that shoulder cannon comes up, and when I meet somebody in the park off of Hinge, it checks their temperature, and if
Yeah.
the temperature is 98.6, then my biosuit mask that I wear, my super lithium battery charged N95 mask opens like a predator mouth, and then you can start making out with the person.
Gabe, it's just like the and then just like
That's how my penis works, actually. My penis works like that.
Yeah. You have a
I gotta edit in the predator noise. It's really hard to do because it's like in the back of your. It's like a rolling of the R's,
Yeah.
but like creepier and
Danny,
weirder.
if anyone could do the predator sound, it's you.
I wish I could. I would just go behind people and be like,
This is
all the
this is
time.
why I stopped booking you. This is why.
Yeah.
No, man. Hey, I mean, Gabe, you've never even really stopped doing comedy. You've been doing comedy throughout this whole thing.
I've been live tweeting the thoughts in my brain out into Zoom. Yeah, I haven't stopped.
And
I've kept my finger on the pulse of how everything's changed.
how has the Zoom comedy experience been for you, and how does it compare to this new socially distant comedy experience?
I think it's much better. I think they're two different mediums. It's almost like you're going to right now the family tree. They're still brothers, but they will soon become cousins. I think Zoom has this possibility for performers who like to do late night monologue packet jokes. You
Yep.
can do that so well on Zoom because you can add media. You can add a video. You can share JPEGs.
You can.
So
cool.
It's very good.
within that, it is much closer to being sort of a YouTube monologuist. But another really important thing is that we are all going back into the houses for the winter. Like that's just going to happen,
Right.
unless
Yes.
we lean extremely hard into exterminationist like capitalism, where it's like whatever. Unless we become like City of Men, like just
Children of Men.
children of men, right? Just like where we let everyone die from coronavirus.
City of Men, I think that's just Denver.
That's right. If you're a lady dating, Denver's the place.
That fucking city is, dude, I've been to Denver at least 8 times. It is always weird. Everybody's a little bit sunburnt all the time. They're too high up.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's a weird place.
People have great calves from all the walking up and down mountains.
Yeah, shout out Brett Hiker.
All I really want is just to be loved in the way that a moderately attractive woman is loved in the city of Denver.
But I was
That
gonna
sort of
say,
tension.
you guys, Zoom is the future. Everyone's gonna be on Zoom again in the wintertime, and you create a community where there wasn't one before, in a unique way that you don't really get at a live show.
Yeah, it's different. It's different, but it has an intrinsic value.
Yes.
Speaking of intrinsic
Speaking
value.
of intrinsic value, McKinsey and Company doesn't have
Yeah.
any, folks. Hey, all right.
Woo! Yeah.
So this is a little bit of a little side story. didn't make a lot of the big press, but McKinsey, as we all know, is a sponsor of the show Ponzi Scream, and it's a consulting firm that all of our favorite people have worked at. I'm talking, Aparna Nancherla. I'm talking Kumail Nanjiani. I'm talking what other comics have worked at McKinsey? Louis C.K. and they Pete Buttigieg, and they all what it does is it provides consulting and is kind of like a privatized extension of the CIA, as some people would allege. But what isn't a privatized extension of the CIA these days, folks?
That's right.
So they basically have a 401k plan for their consultants in the same way that everyone else does. And
That's great. They're really taking care of their employees.
they are taking care.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
They are taking care of their employees, especially I assume after you get put into a black van and you never see your family again, your family gets taken care of in this plan. So they have to have a special type of 401k that's managed. This is a unique setup, right? Usually when you have a 401k plan, it's managed by a big asset management firm, BlackRock, Fidelity, something like that.
Yep.
Right? They're the ones who are actually pushing and pulling the levers on your 401k. McKinsey, because they are so talented, they can do anything. They can be the mayor of a small town. They can do price fixing, and they can also manage their own 401k. They have a 401k manager called MIO Partners, which is actually just a subsidiary of McKinsey itself. Okay? And they were managing it. They were collecting, according to the settlement that just happened related to this 401k plan, which, by the way, the settlement for excessive fees and poor performance, prohibited transactions, and breach of fiduciary duty, the settlement was gigantic for these sorts of lawsuits. $39 million, $500,000.
Wow. That's I mean, McKinsey's a huge company, but for that's $39 million is what Wells Fargo would pay in a settlement where they destroyed millions of lives.
Right.
So for for them as one company to do that, that's a substantial amount.
Big boy. Big numbers.
Yeah.
Big numbers. They are paying just they're getting MIO was getting $20 to $36 million per year in investment management fees in connections with these funds. And they didn't monitor them, and so, there's failure to monitor.
What are they doing with it? They're fucking shitting. They're shitting where they eat. What are you doing? You can't screw somebody over who's that close to you. It's not even in a different company. It's the same thing, but with a different name. What are you guys doing? It's so stupid.
I mean, it's one of the most flagrant conflict of interest 401k stories that I've ever seen, which in some ways is so on brand for McKinsey that they are striving for excellence in this specific regard. Usually the conflict of interest is a little confusing. You're like, why would an employer choose a bad 401k? Right? There's a little bit of confusing, and sometimes like what happened with MIT got a kickback for having their 401k equivalent being managed by Fidelity, and that was alleged or whatever before they settled, and MIT settled for $18 million. But this McKinsey is both the umpire and the pitcher. They're doing both, and it's so obvious how much they're rigging it. And if they're managing their own employees' 401k and then they're extracting fees from it, they may as well just be giving them less money in their 401k. It's just moving money around unnecessarily.
Yeah.
In a way
It's
that's
dumb.
just have a shittier 401k in the first place. There's no reason to do something stupid like that.
So is it like, hey, I put my money in a bank? Let's say I put my money in TD Bank, and TD Bank says, oh, by the way, you're going to have to pay $100 a year fee to have your money in this bank. Also, when you come into the branch and you use the ATM that says TD, you're still going to have to pay an ATM fee.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how much money did I save putting my money in this bank? Actually, you ended up paying the bank $500 this year to just park your money in the bank. Is there any interest rate that I get for having my money in a savings or checkings account here? It's a -1%.
Yeah. Gabe, it's like that where it is both you have to pay to have a checking account and there are ATM withdrawal fees, but it's like they do that, but they say in the contract there will not be fees, but then every single time you walk into a branch, there is literally the CEO just being like, talking to another CEO being like, yeah, I can't believe that they believe that we're not going to charge them fees. it's that blatant.
It's like if you work at McDonald's and part of your payment is that you get an hour lunch break. And at this specific franchise of the McDonald's, the manager requires that you can only eat McDonald's food for your hour lunch break. You cannot bring your own lunch. You cannot go anywhere else. And when you do eat that McDonald's food, your manager gets to take the first bite of your burger. Your manager gets to do a prima nocta on your Big Mac.
A prima nosh.
Yeah.
Prima nocta.
Just like a cartoon teeth bite, just
yeah,
just like right, just right out of there.
Yeah, you're gonna get Dwight's saliva as your special sauce. And they did that. And I also think it's funny that like they brought this lawsuit as workers of McKinsey, and all of these people are just the biggest suckers on earth, right? Like if you work at McKinsey, you maybe were a Rhodes Scholar before you worked there, but most likely you went to an Ivy League school, but you majored in something like history. You don't really have any vocation or plans of what to do with your life. And you just go in and you're just like, please, I have nothing in my life except for you smiling and saying good boy. So
please let me destabilize Libya.
Yeah.
Please.
Whatever needs to be done. Just please tap my head and call me a good boy. Please love me.
Yes.
And the fact that they could turn that around and they could have this lawsuit against McKinsey, I think is a big turn for the labor movement. This is a sign that McKinsey is now woke. McKinsey workers now read one of them read the Communist Manifesto when they were juniors at Georgetown, and that is why we're doing this. They are now going. I'm predicting, guys, they're going to unionize in the next couple of years.
What about? It says here in 2017 you fixed 401k prices. Right?
Yeah.
Right? That's good.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's good. Right?
That's
right?
good.
That's good, right, David? Yeah, cool. Thank you. Yeah. Pat me on the head.
I want to do that at a comedy show. I don't want people to laugh at my jokes. I just want people to tap me on the head.
Yes, that's what we all want.
Okay, well, moving on. What else on that? Anything else on that one, guys?
Nah.
All right. Next thing we have ourselves. This happened a couple weeks ago. The Attorney General for the state of New York has filed a lawsuit to dissolve the NRA. It is just a bombshell. Huge story.
Just walking down that street. Yeah, all just curves for days. The disillusion of the National Rifle Association.
Is that your music? Is that your music for like everything cool? Is the
yeah. I'm bad to the bone, man. I'm bad to the bone.
Dude, you're gonna get a job one day editing sound for CBS, and you're gonna be so good at it.
Stephen Colbert's gonna love it when I'm just sort of like, the Orange Man loves this song. He's gonna be like, yes, 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 yes.
No, I was thinking like you would do the sound editing for like for trailers for legal dramas and medical dramas and firefighter dramas, and it would always be the same sound in the beginning. So this is a pretty big story. This was so it came out a couple weeks ago. The top 4 executives at the NRA, 2 of them are currently there, 2 of them are retired, are just using this thing like a slush fund, basically. They've been using it for what are NRA contributions to what we all know to be the just and right thing, which is supporting your right to be racist. And they're not using it for that purpose. They were using it for things like visiting the Bahamas by private air charter.
Nice.
With his family.
Nice.
Like, this is Wayne LaPierre using it for that reason. Sometimes with his family, sometimes without his family.
Nice.
He's traveling to Africa with his wife for all expense-paid safaris. That's a little bit closer to the NRA's mission, actually, somehow. Then
you cannot convince me that Wayne LaPierre is traveling to or not traveling to Africa to literally hunt people. Like that's yeah. By the way, Wayne LaPierre, one of the weirdest faces that you'll ever see. He's got like a trapezoidal like chin. He looks very, very straight. It looks like he's had a lot of work done.
Oh, he looks great.
Where like his like face is just sort of like, it's just like Wayne LaPierre. His like face is like pulled back like this, just like. And I'll tell you right now, everybody gets a gun except for black people. Wayne LaPierre.
In the biz, that means rested. When someone's had plastic surgery, they look rested. Danny.
Rested.
Yeah.
Rested.
So I mean, they're just doing some just wild stuff. I mean, one guy, he got hired, was known to be loyal to Wayne LaPierre. Within this guy Joshua Powell, the chief of staff to LaPierre, his salary doubled within a month of being hired, and it was doubled retroactively from the beginning of his tenure to 5.
You're just doing such a good job, buddy. Oh my God, you're just my God. Oh, good. Yeah, well, we got to double this shit.
Yeah. So within 2 years of his time at the job, his salary went from $250,000 a year to $800,000 a year. Okay.
What?
This is
come on.
This is a non-for-profit organization. I mean, this is when we talk about the nonprofit industrial complex, we're talking about cool boys like Josh Powell, right? And say whatever you want about this, about the NRA, but holy goddamn shit. You almost I mean, you want to feel bad for some of these people who, innocently want to support the right of a right-wing militia, and instead they're getting Wilson Woody Phillips, who's setting up a deal worth more than $1 million by lying on his financial disclosure forms with the NRA to benefit his girlfriend. He got himself a contract worth $1.8 million for monthly consulting services to the incoming treasurer, even though the current treasurer knew nothing about this contract. And has confirmed, quote, Woody Phillips never consulted for me. I mean, just the coolest stuff ever.
Man, that's wild.
Really, really some good stuff. He got, it just keeps going, right? Wayne LaPierre spent millions on unwarranted travel consultants for decades, including for the book of luxury black car services, spending more than $3.6 million in the last 2 years alone. He received more than 1.2 in expense reimbursements in just a 4-year period for expenditures that included gifts for favored friends and vendors, travel expenses for himself and his family, and membership fees at golf clubs, hotels, and other member clubs, such as Little St. James Island, perhaps.
Alleged.
Not
Yeah. Alleged.
then yeah, it's all in there. So what has come up recently is apparently, since this has happened, the NRA's political spending has plunged as lawsuits and the controversies have hit. The lawsuit alleged that these 4 individuals siphoned out $64 million in donations. Okay.
So it's better that they used it on themselves than to further the politics of the NRA.
That's a hilarious irony. That's a very good point.
So this is maybe the best grift we've ever seen.
You know, if you are going to if you're going to attract lunatics who have terrible politics to your cause and they give you a bunch of money, it's better that you use it all for Peter Luger's lunches than actually promoting the policies.
Wayne LaPierre, welcome to the resistance.
Yeah.
He's he's an embedded agent provocateur.
Yeah.
I mean, the funny part is like I think I would have been 100% okay with this embezzlement if he was just spending it on guns. like if the president of the NRA is just sort of like, oh man, I fucking bought a cannon with all this money I stole from y'all. The NRA members would be like, yeah, like, you know, it would have been fine.
I want to go into his gun closet, like how some celebrities just have like a shoe closet in their wardrobe, just like the LaPierre bunker.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't use guns at all. It's like a drug dealer who doesn't do drugs.
Sure, he's like I like to do it the old way, with a bow and arrow.
Yeah.
He's super trad.
I live in the old world, and then unsheaths a cavalry saber. Nah, that guy, that fucking loser, he would be the kind of guy who has like a fucking Civil War era cavalry saber, you know, with like a like an eagle on the hilt, like a really beautiful something beautiful,
or like a trebuchet, you know.
Yeah, he's like the nerds in my science class.
You're
when I was
like,
in high school.
hey man, what do you keep in that garage? Another car? And he's like, nope, it's a trebuchet.
It's like,
He's like, I'm really into 14th century siege weaponry.
Well, it does have wheels. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. No, I mean, I am actually disappointed in his lack of creativity. I mean, this is one thing that I always look forward to seeing more of with all of these grifters, but it's always the same shit. It's always just like basic bitch luxury stuff, you know? I mean, the most interesting thing is that he got his wife a trip on an African safari, but that's just some really run-of-the-mill rich people shit. That's not...
Mm-hmm.
He didn't get a trebuchet. I want cool... I expect more from these grifters, and I should just manage my expectations, I guess.
Look, David, you need to, like, it's better. You need a you need is this about you? Is this about you? Are you upset that Jeff Bezos doesn't own a dirigible that constantly isn't floating over New York City and dropping coins?
Yeah.
All right? Because that's on you. That's on you. All right?
I just want them to have a cool collection of random stuff. Like, I just want them to, I don't know. Yeah, just like buy all the coin stars, you know, in the world, and then just like pilfer out all the coins from 1995 because that was the year that their daughter was born. You know,
yeah,
I want them to do really random shit like that, and they never do. It's always just like, oh, black car, it's, you know, like overinflated private security force, you know, something, I don't know. Yachts.
Did you guys?
Whatever. Who cares?
Not to go on too big of a tangent, but did you ever hear about how Hitler's car ended up in Bellevue, Washington, for a second?
No, but I've seen Rat Race,
and that's the same. It was actual rich ridiculousness. Where somewhere around 2017, like a weird, ominous looking trailer unloaded like a very old Mercedes. It was like just like pitch black onto like. Yes.
Is this car is haunted and bad to the bone.
Yeah, it was no, it was
They saved Hitler's buggy.
yeah. No, but they it got unloaded onto a side street in Bellevue, Washington, which is like maybe 10 miles from where I grew up, and a jogger saw it and was like, "This looks like a really evil car."
Bad
Took
vibes.
a picture.
Bad
Bad
vibes.
vibes
Yeah.
car. Bad vibes car.
You could say that
Took
it
a
was
picture.
bad to the.
And then he took a picture of it and then looked up looked up on like a in history, and it was just like, oh, it was Hitler's car. Hitler's car ended up, and then it disappeared very quickly. Like someone was like considering buying it and was just sort of like, nah, I can't be driving around in Hitler's car.
Who's the auto mechanic? He's like, oh yeah, I can fix that up.
I mean, look, it's German engineering, man. It doesn't need to be fixed. All right.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. Well, anyways, that's what's going on with the NRA, and it seems like we have a divided house in the Ponzi Scream world. Gabe thinks it's cool. I think it's boring, and Danny is hurt that the NRA people can't exercise their free speech rights. Is that right,
Dude,
Danny?
Dude, if Wayne LaPierre drove around in Hitler's car, I think it would be very funny.
Yeah. It would be actually kind of great, like, if he used money that should be going towards starting, like, a racist right-wing militia and just used it to buy right-wing novelty goods. That would be, yeah, Gabe, you make a good point. That would probably be better for people. That would probably save people's lives.
Oh yeah.
So next thing, we have the speaking of saving people's lives. Did you guys watch the DNC last night?
No. That was one Zoom comedy show I would not be watching. These.
I was like, I was turned off by them having John Kasich on stage. That's where I drew the line, and I was like, I have to resist.
Yeah.
I mean, what's
Simply-
next? Having
simply must.
Nick DiPaolo open for the with some opening statements, cracking some jokes about being triggered.
Oh God, it would be funny.
Yeah.
So they had Ava Longoria hosting. It would be funny if they just like switched it out with Aaron Berg.
He would do great crowd work for that, though, man.
I mean,
that
Come on,
I would watch that.
We're here at the we're here at the DNC. It's great.
I mean,
come on.
It would be funny. It would be funny. So Ava Longoria, I was just like, is that Ava Longoria? And I just kept thinking like, cause I just wanted it to be like, we all know we need a new president. Some say we might need a new president desperately. As housewives, we need. Whatever. Okay, all right. I don't know.
That's sponsored content.
Yeah. So they I don't know, I figured, look, they talked, Bernie talked, he talked about hey, I don't agree with Biden on Medicare for all, but we do agree on some things, and I thought it would be good just to at least go into what Harris and Biden have for the financial sector, because they have a couple things that are, in theory, would be harmful or increasing regulations of the financial sector. A lot of the things that I'm talking about in that Rolling Stone piece are probably the Biden administration seems, from the clues that I've gotten from reading other publications, like they would reverse those rules. They would, and further, regulation of the SEC. They support a financial transactions tax to pay for certain things. They want to have more relief for multi-employer plans. That's something that's just a very strange thing. That's a little esoteric. But they want to make they want to create things like an automatic 401k for people who do not have a 401k.
That was a Pete Buttigieg thing back in the day, right?
Oh yeah, baby. Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm so glad I remembered that.
Oh, yeah.
It's stuck in my brain forever now.
Oh, yeah.
Cool, just like a tapeworm.
I wanted
Love
baby
it.
bonds to
Love
come
it.
back. I was really hoping for that, but
Yeah.
Booker didn't fight hard enough for that. Which and so, but I mean, it's just interesting that some of their policies are seemingly more scrupulous of the financial sector. I wouldn't say they're tough. I would say they're scrupulous, right? There's one thing that Biden signed onto Warren's bankruptcy bill, and which would protect people who are going into bankruptcy. But overall, the financial sector is just overwhelmingly supporting Biden. I mean, just it's kind of amazing how strongly they are leaning towards him. I mean, there's like, if you look at Open Secrets, Biden is getting somewhere around $40 million for these sorts of from the financial sector, whereas Trump is not. He's getting like under 10, something like that. Just from looking at hedge funds and private equity alone, Joe Biden is getting $31 million, according to Open Secrets, and Donald Trump is getting 3.
See, this is why Donald Trump, he's like if you ever play Settlers of Catan, he's like a guy who just gets development cards in that game. He's a wild card. One day he's like, yeah, we're going to mine, or no, we're going to get oil in the Arctic National Reserve, but then the next day he's like, maybe I'll pardon Edward Snowden. Who knows what I'm going to do?
Right.
Who knows? Who knows?
Right.
So
Joe has gotten $44 million from the securities and investment industry, which is different from hedge funds and private equity. That's like the people who manage your 401k. And whereas Donald Trump has gotten $8 million. I mean, this is the just the level of support, and almost all of this is going into outside groups, right? Like the industry totals for that last number I gave you, 39.7 million of it is coming in from outside groups. Okay, so outside groups are like super PACs. So Joe Biden is just getting, his super PACs are just flush with financial sector money that is all not being disclosed.
I mean, what's funnier, the fact that he's getting all these super PACs? So it's like, could you imagine being a like you or me or whatever donating to Joe Biden's campaign? Like, I think I gave Bernie like $300 total, something like that, like a non-insignificant amount of money. But
Ooh.
yeah, I know. But could you imagine just being like a regular person, just like here you go. Here's my money. It's like no. He's getting all the money that McKinsey sued from their employees. It's going right back into. You don't need to. Don't. There's no need.
I mean, I think it's like people know who Joe Biden is. That's his brand, right? And Joe
Yeah.
Biden won nearly like half a dozen states in the Democratic primary without having a single campaign office in that state.
Yeah.
Okay.
Massachusetts, man. What a fucking shame.
Right? Arkansas and like Tennessee and all these southern states. And so I don't really think that there's much need to contribute to his campaign. People know exactly what he is and who he is. And if there's nothing that, the only thing that they really need to do at this point is just kind of a get out the vote thing and making sure people get their ballots and send in their ballots. And if you support Joe Biden, that would be the only thing that I would really say is a helpful thing. I don't really think that there's any point in phone banking for Joe, because I don't think anyone at this point is going to be convinced one way or the other on Joe Biden.
If you need to have your mind changed at this point, where have you been for the last 10, 15, 30 years?
Yeah.
Yeah. Vote or die.
You are probably not an American citizen, or have probably been dead, and you are part of a voter fraud campaign. I mean, there is no. I just don't really think that. I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that thought.
David, vote or die. Fucking vote or die, David.
It sounds like Joe Biden has more money coming his way from finance. Who's got a bigger war chest right now? I think that's a question that I would have. Maybe we can't answer right now, but it's something to look into.
We do have it. Looks like Trump has a total of over $400 million. He has more money than Joe Biden, it looks like. Joe Biden
Wow,
has
400 million.
Yeah, they're actually pretty close. They're close to about 400 each, reasonably close to that.
So it's just like different alignments in American industry behind
It
each
kind of
candidate.
seems like that, right? I mean, one thing that was
Yeah.
tough about Bernie is that he basically was refusing all sorts of industries, and I think some might argue that for you to ascend to power, you at least need to rely on one pillar of power in order to
He
rise.
swiped left on too many industries.
Yeah.
Bernie's
Yeah.
too picky.
Stupid.
You got who's swipe? Hey, who's swiping out in this crowd right now? Who's swiping? I am once again swiping left on
fossil fuel industry.
the police unions. No, actually, unfortunately, Bernie did swipe right on the police unions. That is says R.I.P.
Joe Biden overall has a lot more money, or not a lot more money. Trump is getting about $73 million in outside money. Joe Biden is getting $136 million in outside money. So just significantly more in super PAC money is going to Joe Biden. But overall, their totals are similar. It's a very strange campaign. Yeah, I think that Donald Trump is getting a lot of money from real estate. That would be I think that's the biggest industry that he's getting stuff from. So your landlord is voting for Trump, folks.
Yeah.
And your police unions all back Trump.
NYPD.
Oh yeah.
Even though Biden's tough on crime and Kamala's the top cop, Trump still gets the cop vote.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, baby.
It's almost as if all those vested interests don't give a shit and are just ideologically against the idea of the Democrats. But anyway, let's move on to something a little bit lighter.
Speaking of ideologically opposed to things, TikTok stars.
Well, we've got a couple minutes for this. TikTok stars. Hell yeah, let's do this, guys.
Yeah.
Here we go. Well, friends, I love grifters. I love people that exploit, particularly the young. And by that, I'm not talking about private universities or colleges that are forcing kids to come back to school in person in September, even though we're in the middle of a global pandemic. I'm talking about the managers of our influencer class.
Yes.
An industry that you'd think would be evergreen and would be able to weather the storms of the pandemic. But in the New York Times this week, I ran across a really fun article that is about a manager, Ariadna Jacob, the founder and executive of a talent management firm called Influences. And what she was doing was that she would find influencers on TikTok who had gone viral but didn't have any representation yet, and she would slide in the DMs and be like, "Hey, do you want to get paid doing some sponsored content?" And they would sign a non-exclusive agreement. No big deal. That's not bad. And then after one or two lucrative deals, she would have them sign an exclusive agreement. And then here's the hitch: she'd pay half of their monthly rent. In exchange, they would move into an influencer house in LA, which sounds great because you get to be around your peers. And these collab houses, I'm big fan of the idea.
Ugh.
Sort of like a creative commune, right? In theory.
This sounds like
only
real world, but like there's just no cameras. It's like you have to.
Oh, there's cameras. There's cameras.
Oh, yeah. We'll get to that, David. This is a horror movie. This is a great premise to a horror movie, that you get like all of these 17 to 23-year-olds with green hair in Billie Eilish clothing to show up and live in these like mansions together. And so for this one house, Miss Jacobs agreed to pay half of their monthly rent of $18,500. In exchange, the tenants would produce content and fulfill a certain number of branded deals for the company. So, you'd have to make like a zany TikTok dance for Sabra hummus,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
you know? And it's dope for, these kids, they don't have any real education yet. They didn't go to college. You're really preying on minors and then people that are like 18 to 21 and throwing them into these houses. Uh, and now, but the deals didn't really surface, even though they said they were going to get these deals for a variety of reasons. The pandemic is part of it. And she ended up pocketing a lot of the money that they were owed.
Oh
And she
yeah.
would charge exorbitant fees in the same way that, like, McKinsey was charging fees for the use of its exclusive 401k.
Yep.
Mhm.
So there's one example for an influencer that Miss Jacobs withheld $23,600 in fees for, and she demanded
Uh,
an unconscionable fee of up to 20% commission. She also would buy websites and squat on the domain names that these influencers would be using. So, like, making
Oh
her
my
just,
god.
this
it'd be like somebody signing me to an exclusive contract in perpetuity and then buying GabePacheco.com. So that
this is the weirdest pyramid scheme I've ever heard of. It's like I mean, it's one thing to be selling essential oils and then require the people to buy your essential oils, but like these people, it's like you're forcing them into a Big Brother house. I just like the whole point of TikTok is that you literally need nobody. It's like supposed to eliminate gatekeepers, and then somebody immediately rushes in like, no, I can help you. It's so
Right.
predatory.
I don't know if you've watched like I'm Dying Up Here, which was the take on the Comedy Store in the 70s and the Mitzi Shore character, but she like Miss Jacobs, she talks a little bit about like, how how she sees herself as the hero in this story, and she's in the same way that like, Mitzi Shore would not pay her performers, but then she would act insulted when they asked for money, and she'd say, "But I'm paying you an exposure. I'm
This
giving you a
just
safe space to perform."
this just
You know?
sounds like Broadway Comedy Club. I'm sorry. Like
Yeah.
I interned at Broadway Comedy Club, interned for a year and a half. And
What?
yeah,
What,
yeah,
David?
I did. In order to
I did not know
and
this.
so and before I did that, I actually had to do bringer shows for months under I don't I, yeah.
No.
And that was just for the opportunity for me to be able to get the internship. Okay, so I was doing bringer shows all the time for I mean, whatever. For Sheba Mason, and I mean, Sheba and I had a pretty good relationship, and so she got me the internship, and we got along fine. And I think that she's a good comic, many times, especially for that crowd. And she got me the internship, wherein I had to be a busboy in exchange for the opportunity to perform at Broadway or Greenwich once a week on
Right.
either.
This is
Yeah,
And the thing
it's
is that the normal performers that have not that they see you doing this, they will never respect you.
no
yeah.
So
No.
it undermines your brand right off the bat. Your
with
person, your
comedians.
yeah, it's like, oh,
Absolutely,
this guy's a busboy. He's not really a performer.
that's right.
Yeah, dude, this is just like this is borderline child abuse because I'm assuming all these people, Gabe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm assuming most of these influencers are like 21ish,
Yeah, like
something around there.
19, 18, 19. They did have a situation here with a mother who her daughter was a 17-year-old influencer, and Ariadne Jacobs said she wanted to sign the kid, and the mom was like, "Nah, hard pass on that." But Miss Jacobs continued to use the daughter's name in her marketing portfolio, saying that she
Huh.
represented her. So she was using this minor's name without her consent, and saying that she was her manager.
Hey, come into the Boston Comedy Club. Jerry Seinfeld, Hannibal Buress.
Yeah, Tina Fey will
I'm
be
just
here.
saying.
Yep.
I'm just saying names. I don't know. Maybe they'll
Tina
be here. Maybe
Fey.
they won't.
Tina Fey.
Who's to say?
Right.
Tina. Who's to say?
Tina Fey has
And-
never done stand up in her life, and every time I worked at Broadway Comedy Club, people would be like, "We thought Tina Fey was going to perform." I'm like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry. We are not responsible for the statements of our third party vendors." And
If you didn't read the fine print, all lineups are subject to change, including lineups
exactly.
where we lied and told you that Lenny Bruce was going to be on the show.
Yeah,
You-
man.
Buyer beware.
Harry
Dave-
Houdini.
Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle's gonna be here. David Bradley Eisenberg. David Chappelle. Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean-
that's very interesting to hear that. I just think it's I don't know, it just reminds me of when I was like 19 and I answered a Craigslist ad for like a dad band where I like played bass in a dad band for like
Hell yeah.
4, 5, 3, some experiences like that. And I went to this guy's house in like in like suburban Portland. And then one time his friend came down and then sold him heroin. And then this is all real, by the way. Like I was like 18 years old and like I was doing a practice session. And this guy came down, sold this guy heroin, and then he did the heroin. I wasn't there, but I went back down and he was all zonked out. And I was like, man, this would be really bad if it was, I don't know, being recorded for the internet in perpetuity. That would be really bad if people had to watch me grow up in this way. And that's totally what's happening to these children.
Eventually,
Yeah.
all of our brands, aka our personalities, were going to be commodified, and that will lead to a grift, right? Like one of the things that's
Mm-hmm.
I think is universal is where there is a commodity, there will be someone trying to grift it. And someone like Ariadna Jacob, Shonda Fidegoyam, this kind of person is just, I don't know if she's Jewish or not, but if she is, it'd be sad. For us, it's always bad to have a literally like a grifter in the entertainment industry. Just be Jewish. That sucks. I hate it when but like anyway, it just sucks.
I'm David. I hate this.
But she saw herself, David. She saw herself in her mind. She's still a good person, in that she was helping get these people mentors, helping give them life experience. She goes, none of these creators who have left influences were ever harmed, she said in a statement. Instead, some received free rent, a spot in a Super Bowl commercial, trips on jets, private estates, Lolita Express, private estates, Little St. James Island, and professional publicists. PR is just another word for propaganda. Joseph Goebbels is the father of this. Public professional publicists, and
Ooh, I love this.
we're mentored by some of the best in the biz. Okay, yeah, dude. All right, so fucking whatever that means. So she's like, yeah, you guys will meet Gary Vee. Gary Vee was like, nah, hard pass. I don't know this lady. Like he said that
Straight
in his
up.
own statement.
God
So
damn.
so none of them have yet to have been sued, and we have not hindered any of their careers in any way whatsoever, she said. But we'll look here, and it says, so there was a house called the Girls in the Valley House. All these houses have
Yeah.
cool names. It's very Game of Thrones for like 19-year-old TikTok stars. So the Girls in the Valley House, she promised them brand deals, money, and opportunities. Everyone was promised income. It never happened. Members of the house said that Miss Jacobs asked them to create free branded content. She said, we need to show brands that we deserve to work with them, and we need to prove ourselves in order to, and that would help with industry connections. So yeah, throwing free workout on spec, right? I've got to make these
Yeah.
make these what's give me something.
Kleenex.
Kleenex. we need to dab for Kleenex.
Yeah.
Let's do it. And then but so here's the nightmare. You talked about videotaping and whatnot. Well, first off, her housemate said that Miss Jacobs put a lot of pressure on them. She would show up at all times of the night. She would come in as late as 1 a.m. and then
Oh,
she'd
yeah.
be texting us until 3 a.m., show back up at 10 a.m. So Miss Jacobs is never sleeping. She's on meth. She's just like making deals, grinding her teeth,
yeah.
yelling
yeah.
at these people at all hours of the day. She'd bring guests in without telling us. There was a security camera in the kitchen of the house, which Miss Singer said was installed without our consent, and it was connected to Miss Jacobs' phone. So
It was connected to her phone.
yeah, so she was just watching these young people fucking cook little strudels in their toaster at
Yeah.
This is a
3
very
a.m.
bespoke real world.
So what a nightmare to live in this situation. And this would be a perfect horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
This is, I want Blumhouse to make the influencer house. Like that's the perfect company to make a movie like this, where influencers get picked off one by one by a psychotic bunny boiler manager.
Yeah, especially during
free-
like coronavirus.
You're right.
The free labor thing, I swear, because I mean, Gabe, you probably had a little bit of experience with this. David, I know you and I maybe had something like this. I swear that the free internship thing, or like the internship thing of like 2009, 2010-ish, I thought that was going to be the end of this kind of like free labor kind of weird stuff, but it just morphed into a really weird version of it, where you're in a house and in the valley, and the lady is bothering you at 1 a.m, telling you to fucking dab for Kotex tampons,
Right.
and like, yeah.
She put them all in this house. A lot of these kids are from the middle of the country. They hit it big in Ohio, or someplace in Louisiana, and now they're in LA. They don't know anybody. They're in this mansion, or big house rather, and then their COVID hits. They don't get any
Mhm.
sponsorships, and now their utilities are being cut off one by one by one. Like the internet goes out, so now they can't do the live streaming. The water bill's not paid for, so they've got to like take pool water and flush the toilet with pool water. So they're like
What?
living in hovels. She like leaked one of her clients' nudes all around the
No.
to all the business partners to sort of besmirch her name. So yeah, this is
What was really funny about
This is a
that, the
nightmare.
statement about that, was that they were like, she's like, technically, I didn't leak it to the public. I just told. She's like, I just told various industry people that it existed and that it was really, really bad or good, or just, like
Leaking implied that it slowly just dribbled out. I took a fire hose and showered it on the public.
Yeah, I think she just
Also,
she just sent it to just the people in the industry, which is really weird thing to do. Like I only leaked it to the most important people you can think of.
right.
Also, the industry probably doesn't like this woman either. Like, why are you sending us nudes at this 20-year-old? What are you doing?
Right.
Like, yeah.
Well, in most management situations, you fire your manager. Your manager's your employee.
Right.
Yes.
And
yeah.
in this, she is a taskmaster who is emotionally manipulating these people and holding them like financially hostage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this lady saw the coronavirus and was just like fucking had taken like 5 Adderalls and was just sort of like, "Ooh, yeah. Ooh, this coronavirus. Yes, we can work with this. Yes. You're not allowed to leave the house. You stay inside the house. You're quarantining. Like, make more videos. Make more videos. Yeah, this is gonna be great. What an opportunity. That's what she was like the entire time.
Well, shout outs to a real one. Ariadna Jacobs.
Jacob, singular.
Jacob. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Let us hope that she is Italian.
Yeah.
Then, anyways, guys, we're going to have to stay overnight on Ponzi Scream tonight, guys. We got to do some extra footage. We want to try and get this out to sponsors as soon as possible.
Sure.
So if you guys could just all move in together, I think that we're going to need to just kind of like constantly monitor our white collar crime leftist podcast scheme. examinations.
This episode brought by ZipRecruiter.
Yeah. Oh, I'll be working with my sponsor 3M and getting all the free tape that I want. It's gonna be great.
We do need to discuss sponsors, guys. I really would love to have just like a talent agent sponsor. I think would be really great. Maybe we can get Ariadna Jacob to sponsor our podcast.
You know what you need? You need, right, in the middle of a pandemic, everyone gets parched. And you're not going to drink regular water because regular water is boring.
Boring.
Yeah.
That's why you need SodaStream, baby. So let's do
Yeah.
that. We need SodaStream to sponsor us.
We're just
'Cause
choosing
Papa over here.
We're just are we just choosing all like the
The
anti-BDS?
BDS.
Yeah,
That's the BDS. Yeah.
It's like-
Yeah, Gabe, you've got a Rolodex of all the BDS companies in your head.
Yeah, Ponzi Scream brought to you by Caterpillar Construction Company,
Yeah.
Kushner Real Estate Investments.
Making the finest razor wire you can find anywhere in Gaza.
Yeah.
Well, that's all cool.
Yeah.
That's all cool.
And
Maybe we can get APAC to get a little slush fund for us going or something.
oh God.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyways, that's all I got.
We'll keep you guys abreast of all these weird pyramid schemes, and until then,
whose car alarm is going off?
that's somebody outside. It's the rabble, David. Don't worry about it.
All right. Well, that's all I got. My name's David.
I'm Gabe.
Oh, I'm Danny.
God
Danny.
bless. Bye bye.
All right.
Ciao.
Bye.